A Pakistani official says more than 100 people have been killed, many of them children, after Taliban militants stormed a military school in the city of Peshawar. A rescue operation currently underway, with reports several hundred students and teachers are still being held hostage. Just a warning, some of the images coming your way will be graphic as we show the latest pictures from the media stations of Peshawar. Now, 3 of the militants are said to have been killed during the rescue operation. It's thought 10 had originally entered the military academy. Unconfirmed reports say the attack was in revenge for an army offensive in North Waziristan. One suicide bomber reportedly detonated his device. We understand that large numbers of people have successfully been evacuated, although many are still believed to be held inside. Security forces have surrounded and sealed off the site. The building itself badly damaged from gunfire and explosions. We understand the exchanges of ammunition still ongoing. At least one Pakistani soldier killed amid an exchange of fire. And the Pakistan Prime Minister has called the situation a national crisis and said no one behind the attack will be spared. We've got more details for you a bit later this hour from one of our correspondents from our sister channel, RT Arabic. He's just east of Peshawar right now. For the meantime, though, let's cross live to Catherine Shakdam, who is an expert in the region from the Beirut Center for Middle East Studies. Thank you very much for joining us here on RT International. Quickly, as we do, Pakistan has long been troubled with Taliban attacks. Do you believe the military was suitably prepared to address this situation?
I don't think you could ever be suitably prepared to handle, terrorism. And I think that's an issue that Pakistan and Afghanistan have had to deal with for the past, 10 years. But I think that, the problem is not either Pakistani or Afghani. The Taliban is operating in both countries. And I think it's not a question of, how Afghanistan should respond to it or how Pakistan should respond to it. What we need to do is look at why the Taliban has been allowed to re-emerge and become so powerful across the region.
Well, you talk about the Taliban having operations in the region. Regrettably, they're not the only ones there. We do know that there are Western forces carrying out counter-terror operations, daily drone strikes as well. Could that have also contributed to the tension, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if anything, drones attacks have proven to actually radicalize population and create more anti-American sentiment across civilian population. That is something that has been seen in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Yemen, wherever drones actually occur. And I don't think that's a solution. It's never been a solution. If anything, it has made matters worse and created tensions. But I think what we need to look at, and that's the conversation I actually had with Prince Ali Siraj of Afghanistan, is that the Taliban is not an Afghani issue. It is a Pakistani issue. It has been born and created in Pakistan. And when you look at how things are backfiring, it's actually serving Islamabad agenda against Afghanistan. And that's something that people need to really pay close attention to.
What about, though, we're also hearing reports that from the Pakistan Taliban themselves saying that the reason for the attack was because Pakistan's armies target our families. And yet here we have the Taliban ultimately going after children in an army cadet academy. Why go after children?
Oh, it's for the sensational. I think it's because they want, to achieve media recognition. They want people to be talking about them, fear them. And live in a state of fear. This is something that, groups such as Al-Qaeda and the Taliban and ISIS in Iraq and Syria have done for the past years, and it's working very well for them. It is, in a way, helping them to propel themselves into the media forefront and have people talk about them. And it's helping them. It's helping their propaganda machine to keep running. It is they want people to live in fear because people in a state of such fear have two solutions only. Either join them because they will assume that by joining their enemies they will therefore protect themselves and protect their family by engaging with them, or join the side of the government and fight them. But most of the time civilians do tend to join radicals because it is easier for them to do so.
Catherine, as we're talking right now, we're here on RT International. We're showing the latest pictures from Peshawar media, showing the security services continuing with the ongoing siege at the military cadet academy here. You mentioned a moment ago about the Taliban being born and bred in Pakistan. Of course, we know that NATO forces went into Afghanistan to eliminate the Taliban. How has the overall strength of the Taliban changed in the region? It seems that perhaps it's increased.
Oh, absolutely. But then again, it's due to the fact that there is no Afghani army to really speak of. It's a mercenary army. Rather than utilize and exploit, the tribes as they have done before and over the past centuries by enabling warlords and tribal leaders to use their tribal force to protect the country. They have created, by they I mean the Americans, have created this army that is, that the state cannot sustain. And of course, face towards an army that is almost non-existent and cannot function because they cannot pay the salaries. Of course, the Taliban is going to reemerge stronger. And they have utilized poverty